Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. I hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new middle of the day market update. Again, a little bit earlier. I did one yesterday earlier as well, but in about 45 minutes, I'm going to run half a marathon. So wish me luck. Hopefully it goes well. And if there's no videos tomorrow, it did not go well. but no, don't worry too much. But therefore, wanted to do a middle of the day market update a little bit earlier. We'll talk about the fundamentals, so we'll talk about the financial markets just in general. There's not much to talk about. We'll talk about Bitcoin, which there is a lot to talk about. We'll talk about XRP. We'll talk about altcoins. There's a couple of altcoins that I think are quite interesting and that you need to know about. So in general, enough to talk about for now. So let's just get right into it. The volume is actually volume is pretty good. And there's some coins, some kind of altcoins that you don't hear about too often, but actually that actually do look quite interesting. So we'll talk about that. First of all, before we get into the broader financials, before we get into Bitcoin, quickly wanted to remind everybody, or introduce to those of you new, that we have a Signal group, a premium group, all right, where you get access to a trading guide, but you also get access to daily updates regarding Bitcoin, XRP, the major coins I trade, and signals as well, just in general. And very recently, I've started to introduce some intraday trading, some scalping, let's call it like that, on my favorite coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Sui, Dogecoin, and Solana. Favorite coins to trade. So if you're interested in that, if you want to be a little bit more active, consider joining. But that's it for now. Let's get right into the financial market. So first of all, financial markets today, stable. All right, the S&P 500 pre-market opened a little bit lower, was pushing down, but has since found support here at the 7-day rolling VWAP. And is also still technically very, very bullish. There's no economic data today. Tomorrow we have a lot of economic data, but I'll still touch upon that tomorrow as well, so don't worry too much about that right now. As far as I know, there's also no other fundamentals we need to pay attention to today. Volatility index opens a little bit higher, but ultimately is stable. Gold also rallied a little bit since Monday, but also pulled back over the course of today, so not much going on there. So we can very much focus on Bitcoin. And my thoughts on Bitcoin, although it is very, very handy to remind you all, my thoughts on Bitcoin haven't changed. All right, I think Bitcoin had a beautiful balance right here between, well, at least the value area high at 104.6 to the upside, and then to the downside 102.5. We broke above that level on Monday afternoon, as you can see right here, with high volume, not as high as when we had that move right here, the 8th of May, but still high volume. And then with the pullback we had on Tuesday, we also held the breakout again with pretty good volume, right? So what it seems like right now is a breakout plus retest with volume. While if we take a look at, and I made a video on that this morning as well, while if you take a look at others, aka the altcoin market caps, bundled together in one index, that looks great as well for more upside, for more upsides, especially if you zoom out here. So in general, first of all, I still have a bullish bias on the markets as a whole. But second of all, I think this is a real breakout for Bitcoin as well. And even though, you should always be aware of the fundamentals, like if we get some very, very bad news, if we get some very bearish news, like can Bitcoin still push down much lower, and can this turn into a big fake out ultimately? Yes, but given what we're seeing right now from the fundamentals and the technicals for Bitcoin, I'd say it's most likely that pullback, yes, to be expected, but that ultimately that level around 104,500 will hold, that we'll be able to find support there, and that from there we'll be able to get back up to the previous all-time high and potentially higher as well, but that is something we'll touch upon a little bit later after hitting that. So that's ultimately what I still expect from Bitcoin, and a bit of an explanation on why. If you watch my video on Bitcoin earlier this morning, you'll get a more detailed overview of what I expect from there. Now, talking about altcoins, first to start off with XRP. Nothing happening, all right? XRP is incredibly stable. Place price alerts at 2.44, place a price alert at 2.28, 2.27. Those are the two main areas that we need to get a breakout above for some trading opportunities. Ultimately, on the higher time frames, looks pretty good here. You could still say that we're in a bit of an uptrend to the top of the range right here at 2.8, 2.9. So I still have a slight bullish bias on that as well, in combination with my bias on the markets. But ultimately, short term, there's not much going on. Now, like I said, there's a couple of altcoins that I thought were interesting. First of all, Fetch AI this morning was quite strong. The main resistance level, though, as you can quite clearly see on the chart as well, is this level at 82 cents. All right, keep your eyes on that. If we're able to get, if we're able to see a continuation of this strength and a breakout above that, I think that's a good trade. For now, not interesting enough. And then, like I said, there's a couple of other coins that normally you don't really look at. Cow protocol, for example, which sounds strange, perhaps, but that's showing quite a lot of momentum. It had massive volume earlier last week. Let me actually grab the right chart. Had massive volume earlier this week and is now testing those highs. If we're able to break above that high right here at 44 cents, I think that could actually lead to a rally, although this is a bit of a risky coin to trade, right? If you check the price history, it's very volatile, so be careful with this. But the name of this is Cow. Inisha is something I've spoken about earlier as well. I also posted about this on X, that we were at a very important support level. But Inisha actually looks quite strong here as well. And in my opinion, we have a major level right here at $1, psychological level, weekly rolling VWAP, break above that with the volume we've seen this morning. And that could be interesting as well. So that's Inisha, aka Init. And that's about it for now. There's definitely other coins that are interesting as well, but we have limited time, so my apologies for that. Hopefully it still helps. We talked about the financials, the broader fundamentals, Bitcoin, XRP, some altcoins. If you have any questions, make sure to join the free Telegram, the free Discord. Tag me in there. That's how I will always reply. While the YouTube comments are sometimes a little bit more difficult due to all the bots. But for now, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Be careful trading as always, and bye.